Come on, computer. Let's get to work. Chat. My goodness, Pernov, do you ever sleep? You're never going to get your PhD at this rate. I can see on your dissertation you're just going to have blame Paul, blame Paul, blame Paul. Are you fixing things? I see there's obviously a lot of people with nothing better to do in their daily lives. Alright. So yeah, we're just doing normal boring couple of screen replacements today. Again, as usual. I actually was thinking I might not even get these ones done because I ran out of stock of my 6S screens, which was really dumb of me, but yeah. Let's see. But it happens. Yeah. Normally I do a daily check of the contents of my stock levels, and then I just write out the order for whatever I need to bring it up to the float level that I prefer. And somehow or another I either didn't do it over the weekend or something, and consequently my stock of 6S blacks just wasn't right. There was a couple of bad ones I had in there, which I think was where the problem came out. I saw them, but I hadn't actually dealt with them, so it just visually threw me off. Ah, crikey, you can't even see what I'm doing. Hey, Travis. There we go. 12 hours ahead, my goodness. So you're GMT -2? That's pretty crazy. Where the heck is GMT -2? Thank you, Mr. Randy Scott, watching from the sidelines there. Always appreciate that. Okay. This one hasn't been touched. That's nice. It's nice when you get a phone that hasn't been meddled with. Woke up at 3 AM. Haven't started yet. October 1st, so for now it's not an issue. October 1st is not far away. Have you started on things, or are you in the process of writing a dissertation? I don't know. Kentucky -5. Okay, we're GMT +10 here. So it's currently just past midday, 12:30. Hey, we've got some free range screws flying around here. Hey, Bryce from New Zealand, how's things going over there? You guys living in the really lucky country where you don't have a completely retarded government, and you got some lush, nice landscapes, and you've even got your own rocket launch company. What's Australia do? Australia digs holes in the dirt and then sells it off cheap. So cheap because they don't have the international confidence to bid for the higher pricing they want. Really wish Australia would get over its self-confidence issue. Okay. Wet and rain today. Oh, that'd be lovely. I would really love some reasonable rain here. Well, I've got to find out where that screw came from, and it looks like it's come from up there, so it's a display screw. That's fine. At least we know where it's from. Yep. Slide that over there. Yeah, for a long time I actually wouldn't touch the iP6S for screen replacements. I was a little bit too scared of it. Would you need this phone? What? Someone's asking me to fix a phone and they're asking me if I would need the phone. I'm like, yeah, I would. Well, I mean, you can always visit Australia. No harm in that. Let's see. Sometimes you get, well, anyone who's in this business, you get people that message you looking for support on things, obscure things that you don't really deal with, like, oh, hi, I heard you're the best. Can you help me fix my 20-year-old Dell printer that doesn't want to talk on my network when my little Johnny turns up on Sundays? And it's like, what the hell? It's like, no, get out of here. So where do you people even come from? Where do you justify in your brains that sort of question? Okay, I'm sort of short-circuiting things a bit here. But, yeah, when you get these people that just seem to expect that you're going to help them outright, just without even coming in and offering nothing. It's just, oh, you got to help me. You're support, aren't you? And it's free, right? It's got to be free. It's like, new. Take a hike off the nearest cliff edge. I'm certainly not helping you for free. I spent far too much of my life giving out services for free. I'm done with that. No one's giving me a house for free. So I sort of expect the same sort of behavior elsewhere. Thanks, Travis. Yeah, that's not happening. I don't have any MacBooks in today. I was expecting a couple, but they're not here. So, yeah, if you're after a MacBook repair, then I suggest you just walk away, because it's not happening today. C. Lewis is too busy with his real estate search, so you're probably not going to see much out of him either. I mean, as soon as I get a MacBook in that I feel like I can put in for a repair, like on stream, then yeah, I'll do it. But crap, forgetting that screw. That's a bad move, Paul. But nope. That's why I said in the title, this is just bread and butter stuff. There's no actual fancy stuff here. Yeah, great. After 2 p.m. if possible. And then people get all haughty and upset when you charge them for stuff. It's like, oh, how can you charge me for that? I was just asking a question. It's like, well, I forgot. I can just walk into a doctor's office and ask them, well, what's this spot here, and not get charged for it. Jeez. You're currently IT manager and you know my pain. Oh, excellent, yes. Hey, Daniel M. Haven't seen you around for a bit. Charge them a consultation fee. Yeah, that's the thing. It's hard to charge people. Well, it's not hard to charge people. It's very easy to charge people. But it's hard to get them to realize that, no, this is not a free community service type thing. So, you want my consultation? Fine, I'm okay with that, but it will cost you and it will be on my terms. Let's see. Oh boy. Here we go. That's what that. Huh. Yeah. Daniel, some people just feel compelled to have to express their disdain towards such things. I mean, there are some situations where a thumbs down is legit. Like, you see a video of someone beating a puppy or something like that, then yeah, you're going to thumbs down the hell out of that thing. But yeah, for just general sort of things, you kind of wonder, okay, what were you actually expecting? And usually it's something pretty daft, like, oh, you need better editing, or you need better lighting, or your microphone's not good enough, or I really found your content boring. And yeah, I mean, I get it and all that. But a thumbs down is about as useful as... Damn, I can't even use my favourite vernacular for that. Well, anyway, thumbs down's pretty useless for conveying that sort of thing. And in all honesty, I suppose, in fairness to these thumbs downers, telling me those sort of things is also pretty much useless, because I'm just simply going to turn around and say, well, if you want a better quality video, say better microphone, better lighting, or stuff like that, the easiest way to do that is to open up your credit card, buy the stuff you think I should have, send it over, come and set it up for me, so that I can just sit down, press the button, and get on my way. Now, of course, the counter argument to that is, well, you should be bringing, you want the subscribers, you improve the quality of your production. And, I completely agree with that, but then that kind of negates the thumbs down situation, so it's a bit of a loop. And so I guess people sort of just have a bit of a brain explosion, decide, nope, thumbs down it is, and fair enough. And I'll just have to keep guessing why it is that they thumbs down. Hey, Christian. Hey, John HDN. And Jan Zimmy's back. Just realised it's come up here. Looks like I missed some calls. I guess, yeah, this is a confusing one. Hey, what am I doing on this? No, that's right, we're trying to just replace the screen. No, I've got a fun thing here. One of these is going to become a white one. The Oreo scheme. And I can guarantee you, whichever one I make, the Oreo one, is going to be the wrong one. Ah, my camera's off. Microscope camera coming on in a few seconds. I'm sorry. In the end, as far as I know, with YouTube at this point, thumbs down doesn't actually affect you negatively. As far as I know, it's actually more of a positive interaction regardless. So if people are actually trying to push you down the ranks, something like that, they're actually doing the opposite. They're pushing you up the rank, because YouTube says, oh look, you created some activity, excellent, we'll reward you, push you up the ranks a bit. I've heard guess thumbs down helps clearing out YouTube suggestions of stuff that you don't like, but not sure. Yeah, that's a possibility, Farnell. Although they do already have that functionality. Yeah, when you pull down the options for any given video, it says they're like less of this or something like that, or I don't want to watch this. But you're right, that could be a possibility there, Farnell. Which could also imply why it doesn't actually have a negative effect on your actual YouTube positioning. If anything, it just simply, as you say, fine-tunes the algorithm a bit for that particular person. Okay. Martin Lewis downvoted me. Well, that was an expensive downvote, wasn't it, Martin? Thank you very much, Martin. No, greatly appreciate it. Interesting amount, 3099. Wonder if that's secret code. Maybe it's ASIO testing me. Let's see if I can decode the code. Joke's on you guys if you're listening or hoping. I'm completely and utterly stupid when it comes to that stuff. Johnny English has probably got more skills than me on that. Hey, Zaxera. Well, it's a bit of a quiet day. So I was expecting some MacBooks to turn up, but it seems like the postal delivery network didn't quite make the mark today. So we're just with bread and butter jobs. And this is pretty much the reality of your daily work in this sort of field. It's a bit like when I got my first job ever when I was 15, I think it was. Yeah, I think I was 15. And it was one of the local electronics stores. It was a fairly big chain store here in Australia. And I am a great admirer of the original creator of it, Mr. Smith. I'm not going to say his first name simply because YouTube gets all upset and demonetizes my videos when I say his first name. But anyway, Mr. Smith. And so I was all hyped up. The day I turned 15, I go into the store and I put my name down on the registrar to become a worker there, put my name down. And I had all these great visions of us working as a group and designing electronics or fixing electronics or talking electronics, all those exciting things, everything that I was looking forward to, because I'd spent years prior going over all the books that they produced, all the kits that they made and things like that. And so one day I get the phone call and it's like, "Hi Paul, would you like to come in and have an interview for the job? We're interested in hiring you for part-time work," because I was only a school kid at that point. So I'm all excited, go in, get the job. I turn up and, well, all I'm doing is cleaning boxes, cleaning floors, selling items, talking to customers, moving consumer products. And that was a heartbreaker. That was a real wake-up reality situation. It was definitely not what I was thinking it was going to be. It just turned out to be another Best Buy / Walmart / Tech Buy / general electronics sales job. But I did it for a few years, earned my money, and you got to go through that sort of thing. But it was a little bit of a shocker just in terms of the disappointment versus the reality. Okay, why do we have that button there? Does the home button not work on this one? It does. Interesting. Oh well. Yeah, let's check the charge port. Make sure we don't have a choke charge port, because since they brought it in, it's always a nice thing to charge port's all good and charging, no blockages. Great. That's ready to go. 1792 personality. What? 1792. Isn't that a whiskey of some sort? I don't know. I'm not very good at those things. I stopped drinking round about back in 2000, end of 2000. Got back from Africa and sort of carried on with my ways a little bit, and then it was like, no, got to give up the drinking. Unfortunately, in spite of giving up the drinking, there wasn't any sort of massive improvement in my health, but then that might have been just simply because I was 27, 28 at the time, so your health generally doesn't seem to suffer much at that age. And there wasn't a massive improvement in my income, in my savings. But I'm sure the reality is that it probably has done me a lot of good over the years. Every now and then I might have a glass of wine or something like a bit of Tokay, but overall nothing. Why are you resisting me? Okay, there we go. Oh, another pristine one. Nice. It's pretty rare. Get 2 pristine iPhone 6S's in a day. Travis, yeah, just like I said, maybe 1, maybe 2 glasses every year. That's about it. The biggest problem I have is that it just leaves you feeling groggy. And then you think, oh, I'll go do some work, and then you realize, no, I can't do work because I've got a groggy head. I suppose the counter argument would be, well, you need to drink more so you get used to it, so that when you do have 1 glass, you're not a groggy head. But that's probably an illusion. You're probably equally as groggy, but you just don't realize it. My backup gig is magic, is that right, Joshua? I thought that gig of mine died a few years ago. Martin, realization. What realization? I've already forgotten. Hey Steve K, you got me before the YouTube notification? That's a rare change. I'm not sure why YouTube's notification system is so predictably bad. Maybe it's just their mail servers simply don't have the capacity to issue out that many notifications. I mean, when you think about the logistics of what they have to do at YouTube, it's quite astounding. I mean, how many millions of emails are they having to dispatch concurrently at any given time? And how many hard drives are they having to reload into their frames every second? Yeah. The logistics of growing their data centers to cope with the ever-increasing number of videos, and the fact that they can't actually purge any at the end of the day, it's amazing. And they can't just sort of go, okay, I think we've grown enough now, let's, just stop adding things, and let's just put notices on YouTube saying, due to lack of space, your video cannot be uploaded today. Can you imagine that going down? I do drink caffeine. I do love my coffee. I make my own coffee at home. Obviously I don't make my own beans. I would love to roast my own beans from green, but that's probably a little over the top for me, but it would be fun to do that. Get the particular roast that you want every time. But for now I just settle on just a brand called Victoria, and they have a pre-ground one called Oro or something like that. Martin, it was a combination of a couple of things. One, my wife to be was sort of like said, it'd be nice if you could stop drinking. I mean, I wasn't drinking that much. It was pretty much well and truly the normal, less than normal, typical Australian would. And then just the fact that there was so many things for me to do on a given day with my work because I work for myself. Um, oh, geez, I hope I didn't botch up that touch ID. I just realised that was on 460 instead of 250. Should be okay. And I certainly wasn't running with the same crowd anymore because I just left the country, like South Africa, to come back home. And so it was a combination of everything. And then I found the longer I didn't drink, the more the more my friends, well, the people I was associating with, kind of looked drunk all the time. And I was like, whoa, that's the weird realization when you look at the people you used to hang out with, and you kind of go, yeah, that was kind of fun when I was in it, but I don't see it being fun anymore. I mean, I don't condone, I don't condemn anyone who does. I mean, I don't see any problem with it within most situations. But it is interesting to reflect back from the outside and see how different things look. Hey, Mr. Schwamm from Yuma. Oh man, I just lost that screw. Oh, no, it's still attached to the tip. It's weird. I thought I felt that screw drop from my tip, but no, it's still attached. This is the display I used last night on that Butcher's iPhone 6S. I did take away the flex and the camera and stuff like that and put it back in their phone. You get used to where all the screws go. At least the 6S. Yeah, most of the modern ones aren't so bad. I think the worst ones were the 4S, the 4 coming in a close second. The other thing is you get used to putting them in a certain pattern on your bench, and so long as you, like on this magnetic pad I have, and so long as you stick with the pattern, it doesn't matter what the pattern is, as long as you stick with it, then it flows pretty easy. Unless of course you knock the magnetic pad and get them all mixed up, and then you're kind of like, damn it. And usually what you do then is you find another phone that, or another screen that hasn't been unscrewed, and then you just migrate from those ones. But certainly the 4S and the 4 were of the worst of the phones for screws. Wait, what? What's going on? Am I losing my mind? Oh right, I've already screwed that on from putting the panel on. That's why all these are going to be surplus screws. Of course they're surplus screws. And we have the Oreo biscuit configuration there. If you get a burr grinder, that will turn you on to how yummy fresh. Oh yes, yes, I agree. definitely doing your own grind fresh from fresh roast. It can be such a significant difference. Unfortunately, it's just not always practical, is it? What is the difference between the 6 and the 6S screens? I know they're different, but I actually know what the difference is. The biggest difference between 6 and 6S is that the 6S has the built-in touch chip in the actual screen. It's that, damn it. It's this module here. Now, whether they did that in response to the Touch ID Mason issue, or whether it was just on their roadmap anyway, I don't know. I imagine it would have cost them a fair bit more to put it onto the screens in terms of overall production. But you never know, maybe it was cheaper this way. But what's the other difference? Oh, well, there's always a hard metal backplate on the LCD on these, because they do have the 3D touch on them, which nobody ever really uses. So I'm glad to see that the 3D touch is going the way of 3D TV, being put back into the ground for at least another 20 years until someone decides to unearth it again and have another shot. But other than that, they're not massively different. Probably the hardest thing about getting started with the 6S is the fact that it does have the liquid resistance seal around it, which means getting the screens off is a little bit trickier. Someone using my name, or they're referring to a different Jack. Soren does definitely have some interesting techniques. He's good for, like, if you're in the situation where you're repairing your own equipment and, you know, you're the one doing it for yourself, and you sort of go, well, you know, I don't actually need this to be perfect. And I don't have the money to make it perfect, and I don't have the resources to make it perfect, so I would still like to know how I can make it so that it functions. I guess I'm referring there to things like the hot glue hinge situation. I think it's good to watch a lot of different people, and then you get a nice blend of techniques. Home button works fine, so we didn't damage it, thank God. That was a really stupid mistake. Oh no, it is at 250. It sure as heck felt hotter than that, I can tell you that right now. Alright, so we've got 2 phones fixed. And best of all, I got my replacement backplate back. And I get paid. And these two still function well enough, and given that they're original Apple screens, I can actually send these in for a refurb, which is nice. I mean, you don't get a huge amount of money for them these days, but it's still nice, it adds up. Like if you have 100 of them, well, that's a couple $100 for you. Hey JP, thank you, appreciate that. Which reminds me, we probably have to go and pick up Micro's insulin and needles today. We ordered them yesterday, and they should ideally come overnight. It's crazy, you go through a box of 100 needles in 50 days, and you just... I still remember the first day of giving him the injection, and now here we are in day 50 or so, and yeah, already got to get another set of stuff. 4S is still a great device if you want to play with all the old peripherals and docks. I mean, they are still a sturdy unit, that's for sure. I get a lot of people still bringing them in for repair. They're a durable phone, that's for sure. I think the thing I hate most about the 4 and the 4S is that if it comes to doing the electronics repairs, they're an absolute pain in the butt, because pretty much that entire board is underfilled. It's just like they've been along and you know, sprayed it all over it. So it makes it quite hard to deal with. And then the 5 wasn't quite as bad, and by the 5C, 5S they kind of realised that, hey, maybe we don't have to be such buttheads. And then after that they realised, no, we like being buttheads, and started making things hard again. Yeah, the hot glue hinge was a crack up. Like I said, I do it myself, but for customers, I still use the JB Weld and embedded captive nuts. Hey, Mr. Fossis, Miss Fossis. Joan, I've got to get glasses or something. Better screen, I think, bigger screen. Jason SDS, he doesn't pump out many videos. No, Jason is very busy at the moment. He's got a massive backlog of work to do. He is very popular with his job queue, as I'm talking random here. Anyway, he's in demand, so he doesn't really get to do a lot of the videos, and he's been a responsible human being, and he actually takes time off and away from work to go do his normal human activities. Like he's doing scuba diving a lot now. Plus, he's got his own family. So he's probably a good example of what a lot of us should be more like, but none of us seem to follow that much. I mean, when I basically work until I'm ready to drop. I go have a shower, get something to eat, sit in front of the TV, watch an episode of something, and then just crash and burn. There's very little. I really have no hobby or entertainment time for myself. I haven't for the last 15 years or so. With with hot glue, it also depends on the type of hot glue, but you're right, it does have a tendency to not actually chemically bond at all with anything. I mean, it's not meant to. But I suppose if you rough up the plastic enough, yeah, give it something to purchase into, then it's not too bad. But even still, with hot glue, because of its viscosity, even if you rough it up, it can just sit on the top. It won't actually, bite into the base that you're working on. And yeah, JB Weld suffers a similar sort of issue. It again doesn't really chemically bite into anything, but fortunately, at least with JB Weld, I find, particularly with a lot of the laptop crevices and whatnot, if you can get it to seep together underneath something, and then it becomes a literal interference slash mechanical lock. So yeah, definitely I prefer JB Weld still by a long way. What happened to him getting an actual loco? Daniel, you're a friend of Jason. You mean him getting a store? He was looking at it, but then I think his queue is just already so busy that it doesn't make a lot of sense for him to try and then also deal with walk-ins, because I think when you decide to move into walk-ins, then you really do need an assistant or someone else to handle negotiating or dealing with the people while you try to still do your work. And if you're already at 100% with your work, then the last thing you want to do is have walk-ins eating into your current full queue. So yeah, I think he sort of was looking at it, but it wasn't going to pan out at this point. Yeah, the right adhesive, the right materials is definitely, you're right about that. I guess the hard thing is you also want something that's not going to be potentially destructive to the material you're bonding with. Particularly with the laptop plastic chassis, you could use something maybe that's got a little bit of an acetone base or something, but then you're going to eat through that chassis a bit, and you could end up in a bit of strife. I didn't. Senpai, no, that wasn't anywhere near me. I think you meant Jason in Florida was getting close, but he was on the other side of Florida. I forget the name of the place that he's in. Sarasota or something. I don't know. He did. Let's see. John says did many years of radio work with Motorola Comgear. Oh, cool. Never had to work with micro components. You do. Radio gear, RF gear is black magic to me, honestly. I used to do general work on that, but RF stuff is just Sarasota. I think so. Yeah, Sarasota. That's black magic. People who can do RF stuff, they just blow me away. It's a whole different ball game completely to this digital logic stuff. Heck, even people doing audio amplifiers get me, with having to bias transistors and just all that stuff. It's like I never really got I never really got the true feel of bipolar junction transistors. Yeah, I mean, I knew the mechanics of it and all that, but I never got that intrinsic feel for what I was doing with them. But then I found MOSFETs, and MOSFETs and me just get along great. We've got no problem at all. And so you see all these people talking about, the biasing of the transistors and moving multi-stage transistor amplifiers and the various interfacing components to compensate, and then feedbacks and all that. It was just boggled my brain how they actually got it all together. So it wasn't until I really got into digital electronics and this sort of stuff, iPhones, laptops and all that's where I really found my field. Do you ever think of doing an edit video? Well, Senpai, I've got about 150 edited videos prior. I'm only doing live streams mostly at the moment because I'm busy with everything else, and so this is just the easiest way for me to drop in, get some work done, say hello to everybody, keep things alive, and then move on from there. Yeah, I mean, basically analog is all some sort of magic. I mean, obviously, technically, digital is analog. It's just a constrained analog. We sort of go, well, anything above 70% of VCC is going to be what we consider 1. Anything below 30% is going to be 0. I mean, we still use a lot of the names from the analogs like VCC. I mean, that's volt collector for the transistor side, or VEE, volt emitter, things like that. So there's a carryover there. And, well, you're right, Penov, there is definitely black magic and high-speed digital, because basically you're heading back to the RF there in that case, where you got to have balanced impedances, and you got to watch out for reflections. You got to you're back to the RF world when you get up to the high speed. And I'll stick to coding more too. Even though I'm not much of a C++ coder, I will do C very nicely, even if I have to say so myself. Definitely my area is C. A little bit of assembly, but the trouble I find with assembly is that it's always specific to a particular chipset or situation. So that's where C is good. You sort of get close to being able to tweak things at a sufficiently low level without having to fall back into the assembly. High on tech, the 6S is already done. All sorted out. Anyway, I've got to go and scoot now. I've got to write these invoices up, get the person to come pick them up, and I've got a couple of other jobs to sort out, but they're programming jobs. So we're going to sign off now, but once again, thank you all for dropping in and sitting around for a comparatively boring stream. I'm hoping I should get some MacBooks in the next day or two, or something a little more interesting. Maybe I'll hold off on doing the daily bread and butter video until I do get something perhaps worth a little more of your commitment of time watching. Because hey, I mean, let's be real here. You're sitting around watching this when you could be doing something else, so you kind of want a little bit more of a return for your investment in time. Anyway, you'll take care, and I'll see you next time.